All right. I used to freestyle back in high school, and I was cool kicking that freestyle with them. Where we at? UVM. What is going on, the city of Chicago? How's everybody doing out here? Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Donte Chase Bridges. I need y'all to give it up for yourselves. Come on now. You got to clap it up. More enthusiasm, people. Come on now. All right, here we go. I wanted a church clap.
It's a little hot, you know.
It was a little hot.
It's a little hot in here, so you know.
Oh, shoot.
We're working with what we got.
People, I wanted a church clap, and y'all gave me
You know what?
Yeah,
Say it again.
Friday morning, man.
There you go.
All right.
Church
thank
clap.
you.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
The computer.
People, thanks for the computer, because they didn't come through with me. But listen, people, Donte Chase Bridges here, and today we are going to get into a slapper of a topic. You know it. We got a woman in here today.
Woo!
And you know why we got that woman in here?
Because we're going to talk about something that's going to be related to women.
Oh, yes, we do. And sometimes when they're listening to us out here as being young African-American black males, sometimes they feel like we're only coming from one perspective. Do you get that often? Do you feel that?
I feel that.
I think it's all the time.
It's all the time.
feel that.
So what we did today, people, we decided to switch it up a little bit. But before we do that, we got to get into a little bit of something I like to call the shout out hour. City P, you got somebody you want to shout out, brother?
Is it really an hour, though?
Oh, man.
Okay.
That is a metaphor for life.
Okay, there you go. Well, shout out to our brother. He's at work right now, but shout out to our good friend Troy of the Weirdo League podcast.
Shout out to you.
We waiting for those new episodes, man. You got a new one coming up right now. I think it's The People versus the Internet. It's actually out now. Go check that out on Anchor app. Do you have anybody to shout out?
I have somebody.
Okay.
I would like to give a shout out to the Urban Broadcast Media. Let's clap that up again. Because, you know, a lot of times what people take for granted is when you're dealing with this journalistic game, when you're dealing with just being in media and entertainment, there's not too many opportunities out here, man.
Right.
So a lot of times when you find somebody that's going to give you a helping hand and say, look, man, we want you here. We want you to do this. You got to give it out to them, man. And you got to know where your bread is being buttered. So I would like to give a definite shout out to UBM.
Yes.
Also, I got one more shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out to Scene Chicago. Scene Chicago. I wouldn't be who I am without it. I'm just playing. But Scene Chicago is some of the best magazine articles that you can possibly read. Matter of fact, you can tune in to Donte Chase Bridges at Scene Chicago.
Name of the plug.
Yeah.
There's the plug.
You thought it was
You
random.
knew it was coming.
It's never random.
Because see, every time I sit there, everyone like he shouts out Scene Chicago, I was like, I'm waiting. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Bam! There go the plug.
You ready for the big plug?
Yeah, let's please plug.
You can catch one of my latest articles about the Laquan McDonald. Laquan McDonald. You feel like we got justice, but do we really know if we've got justice yet? There's a lot of variabilities with this.
More or less, not too much.
Oh, that's what you think?
That's what I think.
That's your...
I mean, I guess it's kind of like just saying, it's kind of like you met in the middle. Why do I feel like this case where like we met in the middle?
Yeah.
Like it was a negotiation. All right, look, we're going to sacrifice him because to appease y'all.
You get the feeling of the banana in the tailpipe coming?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, because we haven't got a sentence yet.
Oh, it's coming, man. It's not going to be what you think it is.
So what you can do, you can check out my latest article, Will Jason Van Dyke Serve Life in Prison, on Scene Chicago. Once again, that is Scene Chicago. We're going to repeat it all at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Scene Chicago. Oh, I appreciate
Quick guess. How long do you think he's going to get?
Do I get paid for that drop?
Can we talk about it? We can go to McDonald's later. Go to Wendy's. We can get a 4 for 4. How many years I think he's going to get? I believe he's going to get between 6 to 12.
6 to 12?
Yeah.
I gave it over under 10 to 15 because I think that's meeting in the middle. Because the third day, for every aggravated assault charge he got, he's talking about a maximum 30. I was like, no. He's probably going to get, I'll give it a low ball and say maybe close to 10. That's about as far as I'm going.
But you got to be careful now because with a police officer, they may not do consecutive.
Exactly, and that's why his ranking as a police officer is going to allow him to get you get a lesser sentence.
It may be concurrently. So you got to be out for that. But listen, I've got my shout out hours out, and I had one more. And I always shout this pretty woman, beautiful woman out all the time on everything we do. But guess what? Tonight we have none other than Miss Kim Brio in the building. How are you doing?
I would be eyed. Clap it up for me.
I will.
She's here.
I get a clap.
You gotta
I'm
get
here in
that.
real life.
Yeah.
Kim Brio, how you doing today?
I'm good. How y'all doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh, no.
I'm hot, y'all. This
It
is
is something.
I
hot.
see it's burning up.
It's
here.
hot.
That's why we can't do the church clap, because it feels like church right now.
You need that Martin Luther fan right
I'm
now.
trying to tell you, but I'm good.
So
I'm
Kim,
good.
I'm glad you're good.
Saving grace.
How sweet the sound. Right there.
Yeah, because if I sing, y'all gonna lose all y'all listeners. Y'all listeners gonna be like, no.
We're gonna keep you for the beautiful face. So, Kim Brio, I would love for you to tell everybody that's listening, everybody that is tuning in right now, just tell them a little bit about yourself, because I'm always talking about you.
I
I'm
thank
always
you, and
talking.
I appreciate that, and I always return the love.
I appreciate it.
Kim Brio is my name, and I kind of just give you everything. So I'm an entrepreneur, personality consultant, and queen. So I started off doing web and graphic design. That went into brand strategy. I help people build businesses on one side, and then on the other side, I am a personality. So I do podcasts and radio and TV and all this kind of fun stuff like you had me here with today.
She gonna take our job.
So
Yeah.
I might be
I feel the
careful.
energy right now.
Be careful.
I'm gonna give us some competition because I got a personality too, so I'm gonna give her. I'm giving her competition.
I feel like she's gunning for us. Right
I'm
now.
cut.
She got it for
You.
you.
For you.
Me. She got it for you.
But you know what? I'm glad she's here because speak of gunning for you. Speak of black women in general.
Oh, here we go.
Today's topic. Y'all ready?
I don't know.
We will be discussing why is it so hard for the black millennial woman in Chicago to find love? People,
Why is it?
why is it so hard? Because you see so much on social media about millennial black women, even though they're smart, even though they're educated, even though they have everything that should be socially going for themselves, right? When we're talking about society standpoint, doesn't it seem like they are the quintessential woman to be with?
Because I need to know something. Because it's hard out here.
It's hard out here for everybody right now. But particularly for this millennial black Chicago woman. And that's why we got a millennial black Chicago woman in the building with us today. And she's going to be dropping some heat.
In the flesh.
I'm not going to try my best to defend you ladies. I'm going to try to speak from you guys' point of view. There's some things that y'all got to do as men, but there's some stuff we got to do too.
Oh.
There's some stuff we got to do too.
Well, since she's coming at us,
Yeah.
how about I come back at her?
We'll come back at
Kim Brio, you ready for
Already?
something right now?
Yeah.
You ready for a question?
All right, come on.
Now, like I just said, it is so hard for Chicago black millennials to actually find love, whether it be man or woman. I know I myself, I'm 32 years old.
I think we're all the same age.
We're
Right?
the same age?
We're all three the same
32,
age.
32, 32.
Yeah.
16.
You stick with that. You stick with that. He's 16.
I'm
y'all.
16.
You were 16 years ago.
Look, can I be great for a little bit? All right,
You
go
look like
ahead.
my uncle. Okay.
Oh.
So, I digress.
Yeah.
It's so hard for these black millennial women to find suitable matchmakers. I don't know, along with my partner, Stephen City P, we don't know why is it so hard for the Chicago black woman to find love. Can you just give us your take on things? Because we want to.
Yeah.
wanna know.
Yeah.
I want to know.
I think that there are a few different factors that play into it. But if we're going to be real, I think that when it comes to gender equality here, when you're being raised in the city, females get a lot more opportunities than the men. So, and this is just my opinion. So what happens is later on in life, when you're hitting your 20s and your 30s, that number of equally yoked people, so to say, is dwindling. Because now it's a thing now to be this strong black woman, right? And it's this thing to be like, I got masters and I got doctorates and I got businesses and I got all of this stuff.
You see how she came out?
But me,
Right.
yeah, you see how
She
like
came
right?
out like that.
Yeah, like the Beyonce came out, right?
Okay.
But meanwhile, who's empowering the young men the same way that they empowered us? So if we're moving forward, because people took time to empower us, because we had the Destiny's Childs to say the independent woman, and we had our mamas to say, well, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. But my question is, who's empowering the young men? Because with all due respect, if I've built myself up to this point, I don't want to come back home and go talk to Trey on the corner.
Preach.
Exactly.
Knowledge.
I don't want to do it. I want someone equally yoked with me.
You want somebody at your stature.
At your level.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that opportunity has a lot to do with it. And I think that drive has a lot to do with it too.
So you feel that Chicago Black Millennial Woman has got herself together, but for some reason, the Chicago, as much as possible. Because, you know, it's,
you ain't never gonna be all together, baby.
when we look on social media, that's what we see. We see that
Right.
Chicago Black Millennial Woman has everything together. Hashtag goals.
Right.
You know, we
Right.
see that. We see economically dealing with the jobs. We see that more than 75% of African American women in the city of Chicago are employed.
Yeah.
That is insurmountable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, between 20 and 24, for African American males, there is more than 50% that are not in college
That's why.
and have no jobs.
That's, you answered, the question you asked me, that's the answer.
So tell me this, why do you feel it's just this seesaw? Why do you feel it's so levied in the woman's standpoint and the man is just falling just to the, because we feel it, even though, you know, I would say that we are considered to be, what would you say, quintessential black men that are
You
doing
guys
well.
are the ones equally yoked.
Yeah, we
You guys
equally
are
yoked.
yeah.
But even though the equally yoked men sitting right here, we still feel the fire.
Okay.
So
I think that's something that's not changed because even though at our stature, we're still going to feel that fire, no matter what it is. Just because I think because of look who we are, we're young and we're black. So I think it's not going to change anything too much systemically or the society wise. But as you were saying, what do you feel like?
You said a very important word, systemically.
Yeah.
And as I was thinking about this topic, you sent me this topic, and I was really thinking about it, and I was like, well, I just want to make sure that I don't get on here and be like, listen, these men need to do this, and these men need to do that.
Right.
And I really started coming from an angle of what is it that we need to do differently, okay?
Self-reflection. I see.
So my question to myself and my sisters and like you guys in this situation is like, we putting y'all under this fire, but what are we doing to grow you? All we doing is knocking you down and saying you're not good enough. So to my sisters that's single, maybe we're single because we too picky.
You know what? I have never, and I'm serious, I've never heard a woman so eloquent and articulate that. Because a lot of times when you deal with sisters,
I need this.
you need that.
I'm saying, listen,
You
gotta
look like a deacon right now. I'm telling you.
I need this.
You're looking like
Because
a
I felt
deacon.
that. I felt it in my shundo, okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes as black men, we don't have the women that understands our plight.
No.
Sometimes as African American men,
Sometimes.
we feel that we are being bethundered, bamboozled. And the system doesn't understand that this is systematically taking the black man down
It is.
by
Say it
not
again,
having.
preacher, say it again.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You done took us all
All
out
right,
the spirit.
all right,
Done took us
Okay, it's
all
over.
out
It's
the
over.
spirit.
We're sorry, everybody. We
But
thought
you
we
know
had
I'm
hope.
sorry.
You took us all out the spirit. But you know
Okay,
what?
yeah.
But you know what? Like, honestly, what you were saying, and what we're saying. I think that there's a big part of Chicago millennial women having to take responsibility.
All right.
Now here's the, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So here's the thing about that. When you tell women like that they have to take responsibility, the one other thing I've always noticed is that there's always a backlash when you try to tell young black women like that to take
Let me
accountability.
tell you why.
because-
I'm not telling them to take responsibility for y'all.
Right.
Right.
I'm telling them to take responsibility for themselves.
Okay.
A lot of black women, Chicago millennial black women, in my opinion, are single because they choose to be, because they're in their own heads. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
When you have to step away from dating and look at yourself
Right.
and examine yourself.
So,
And if you're not
to-
giving these brothers nothing to work with,
Not to
and you
cut
like,
you off, not to cut you off, but you make a very poignant point, and I just want to piggyback off this.
Mhm.
Do you feel that the Chicago black woman needs to first look at herself in the mirror
yes,
before she even feels that she is compatible with another black
Yes.
man that she says not here?
yes.
Could you expound a little bit on that?
First of all, let me say this. I think that not only the Chicago black woman, millennial black woman, everybody, before you hop into a relationship with anyone, needs self-reflection and understanding of who you are.
Right.
Because if you don't know what you're bringing to the table, how y'all gonna set the table together? How we gonna do something together if you don't know who you are as an individual?
City Pete, you got something to say about that, brother?
See, this is setting the table. This is the issue I always have because we keep talking about basically this thing was stemming from an energy of equality. Right. So it takes two to govern a household.
I don't wait.
That's like you're saying.
Ooh, you just hit a word that I don't know.
People, I just to keep it fair, I don't technically think she means that per se.
Okay, so
I'm going to give her, wait a minute now.
I said need clarification.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, what I need you to do. All right, let's go back to we got a woman in here.
I'm not saying. No, I just said I don't trust you.
I need you just to clarify exactly what you meant by
that. Okay, when I say set the table, okay, and let me put this on the table for any successful woman for any successful woman that's dating. When we say set the table, we do not want your money.
Oh.
Okay.
We don't care about your money.
Okay.
We can get our own money.
Because more than 50% of African American males are unemployed, so there is no money.
So when I say set the table and we speak about being equal, I want men to start stepping up the same way women did, and we started, getting the money and going to work. It's other things that y'all got to do.
So what are some of those things?
Self-development.
You didn't even let me.
Self-development. Y'all don't develop yourselves. Y'all don't focus on growing yourselves. And y'all steady trying to date everybody else and figure everybody else out. The whole world is attacking you.
Right.
We're unconsciously attacking you because they done systematically trained us to be like, but the black man ain't nothing. And y'all don't even take no time to look at yourself. Yeah. You don't know yourself.
City Pete, what you got to say about that?
I really don't have anything to say because I finally, here's my thing though. We finally have someone that you get it, and I understand that completely because for years I've always said I preached one thing about even when relationships across the world, across the board, there has to be a level of accountability that has to exist for the relationship to work. One side can't be responsible for all the problems. You have to have accountability on both sides. I look at it saying this: if my woman, the woman I'm with, if she's not living up to the standard, there's something that I'm not doing to help her.
Exactly.
And vice versa.
And that's what I mean by equally setting the table. That's all I mean.
And that's why we're going to take a quick break so we can recalibrate because they're about to go at it. We will be back with Real Talk with Donte Chase Bridges in 1 minute. Okay. Y'all hold on.
UBM Radio.
It's hot. Jesus Christ, I need some ponytail.
So what we about to do, we gonna kick it up. Okay.
More?
Yeah.
I thought I was going a little hard.
Cause I ain't yet. So
I'm a little nervous to hear.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna attack the independent woman mentality.
I'm gonna let y'all answer that first.
And shoot it to you.
All right.
So you wanna take it over after Steve?
Yeah, I wanna hear the men's point of view.
Adopt US Kids presents multiple choice parenting.
Your daughter just got invited to the prom. Do you A, meet her date?
I need to see your past date report cards, your driver's license, a list of references, and...
Oh, that's better. That's much better.
Just love the long
Oh,
sleeves and
man.
turtleneck.
That's why I got this hat.
C,
Because you know I sweat.
attend the prom undercover.
You know I sweat nothing. It's like the rain. Hot.
New kid at school.
Or D, capture her big moment.
Let's take a photo of you two.
I can't fit both of y'all. I can't fit everybody. I have a horrible camera. Yeah, like my uncle was like, show everybody. Say hey, y'all.
What's going on, people? Donte Chase Bridges out here.
Visit Adopt US Kids.
That's
hot.
A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's.
Yeah.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad.
That's bills
Soccer
to pay
practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know
So I guess bills pay.
I'll be wearing short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and and my
Y'all
darky
wanted
dad
to have a
hat, and
jacket.
I'm gonna do my dad
Today,
dance for all
I
you
had a whole
friends.
outfit
They'll
full
love
of
it.
jackets because I called this jacket company. Me and Abe had
Short shorts.
You know, surprised I got all this all black on. I'm not really that hot,
Seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
so I'm like, I don't
It's
know what's
important to
going on
get your
right
kids
now.
to
So
buckle
okay,
up for safety,
I'm keep
no
rolling.
matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, I'll buckle.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckle.
Yeah, I love those elevator films. You have to stay for me as well. What? Stay.
What is going on the city of Chicago? What is going on UBM? What is going on the people that we have in here today? I am your host, Donte Chase Bridges. This is my guest host and overall partner, Stephen City P. Watson. And we chilling with the beautiful, intellectual, talented Miss Kim Brio.
Can you do all my intro?
I will.
Oh.
You gotta
I
pay
like
me.
that.
You gotta sell it.
Now my voiceover charges ain't serious, right?
Okay, all right.
Sell it. It's a selling point. You
Now,
gotta sell it.
people, I hope you've been tuned in to what we've been talking about. We have been discussing why is it so hard for the Black Millennial Chicago woman to find love, and we've been tapping it, we've been jabbing at it, but I think right now it's time for us to get a little real. Let's take off the gloves here, okay? Because I want to pose a question to my panel right here. Now, we need to get a male's perspective on this because we've been doing the woman's perspective, and I love the woman's perspective.
I've been running
But
it out.
to each coin, there are two sides, right?
Indeed.
Okay. So, Mr. Stephen City P, I want you to tell me, why do you feel, you ready for this, brother? I'm gonna say it one more time. Why do you feel that the independent black woman phenomenon, the phenomenon of the black independent woman has taken over? And do you feel it has contributed to that black millennial woman not being able to find love?
I gotta adjust my headphones
Just
because
pause
a
for a
second,
minute,
because
take a breath. Wipe your shades off, wipe your glasses
yeah,
off.
you know,
Okay.
slash you.
All
Because
right.
I'm trying to make sure I answer this question appropriately
Okay.
and word it very carefully,
All right.
so not to be misconstrued. Why do I think the independent woman mentality plays what role it plays in this?
Do you need me to repeat the question?
Remove your filter, be real.
Because it moved my soul a little bit.
I think you're a little scared.
No, I ain't
I
scared.
think so too.
I ain't scared.
I think he
Whoa. Ain't no fear here, honey. Ain't no fear here, honey. Sorry.
I see the water puddle right there on your forehead. Right
Man,
now.
I'm dry as a bone, and I got on all black.
We gonna give you a
Okay,
chance to
so
really
yeah.
dive into this.
All right, so here's my thing about the independent woman mentality. The independent woman mentality has sort of put in a spectrum where you don't necessarily need men for really anything. It's kind of created. It's like I said, we just brought up the word systemically. Systemically, it's more apparent in that you have the Section 8 housing, the welfare, the child support system, the legal system itself when it comes to the separation of black households. It is now made it more abundantly clear that women have enough support from the system today that a man is not needed to run a household. So when you have this independent woman, and then let's say you go out, if a woman gets a job and she makes her own money, that even makes the situation even increasingly, because now they are completely dependent on themselves and they're completely dependent on no one.
So where do you feel that independent woman streak started? Because now you said that because when they go to work, there's they make their own money, therefore not needing a male presence, right?
Male presence.
So where do you think that independent streak came from?
I think the independent street, Destiny's Child.
Hey,
That's where it came from.
It
It's
did.
all
And part of it did.
part of it did. Because the thing is that even with, it kind of starts with a little bit of emotional, don't you think?
You tell me.
Because emotionally
I'll
wise,
tell you.
yo, you gonna tell me?
Yeah,
Don't
you-
tell me.
You hold on, man. Just
Because
hold on.
let's take this one. let's take this. Let's be real about this. Okay, say you're dating.
Take your gloves off.
Say you're dating, and it doesn't end well. The breakup happens. It doesn't end well. Y'all, a little bit of bitterness is there. It exists.
Very real.
So
right
now in the recovery process of you trying to break up from this long-term relationship, you're now looking at it as, I don't need no man. I can take care of myself and I can do my own thing. And there's such a thing, there's such a system that is built to support that narrative that it comes more and more and more and more and more. You see where I'm coming from? It becomes more and more
You
apparent.
just read my biography.
See? And that's the thing though. So now it becomes more apparent that they don't need us. And
You good? You got one more? Come
I
on.
got one more. And then now that, like I said, when it comes through the system, when it starts to manifest something like when the divorce rate comes up. The divorce rate goes, guess who's getting most of that?
Who's getting that?
The wife.
The wife.
The child support system. Who gets custody?
Who does that?
The mother.
Oh my God.
You gotta kind of understand who, as a man, we're coming from. It seems like we'll lose more when the separation comes.
Okay.
So
I feel that.
it will.
Ding,
go,
ding, ding,
go ahead,
ding,
go ahead, go
ding.
ahead, go ahead. I feel like something's brewing there.
Yeah, there's something wrong because there's something really important that I want to say.
Okay.
And it was based on something that you said at the beginning.
Speak on it.
You said women don't need men. And you said they got welfare and we got Section 8 and we got all of this stuff. And what you literally named was all physical things.
Okay.
That is not what we need from black men.
Okay.
We
Won't
need
you
them
tell
to
us?
be here. We need men to be here. We need men to communicate with us. We need men to have relationship with us. That's not, hey, how you doing? What you doing, beautiful?
I thought that's a nice line. You
No. Guys, okay, for any man watching and the men here, you guys are good morning beautifuling us to death. Please.
So what you doing? Text messages not gonna.
No.
Okay.
What a woman is going to require is something that she can't give herself.
Right.
Okay? So I can get myself rent. I can get myself food. I can get myself money. I can get myself a car. Heck, I can get myself a baby nowadays. I can't get myself genuine companionship. I can't get myself someone that's going to communicate with me. I can't get someone who's going to want to know me past this millennial black woman. She has it all together because y'all see that and y'all automatically put a stigma on that too.
But then I have
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta give her.
Okay, give her credit. Okay.
So that's the first thing.
Okay.
The first thing is that when you talk about the need, we don't need you financially, but we need you guys in other ways. Do you understand what I'm saying?
What's some of the ways do you feel that the millennial black woman needs that black man?
Keep it clean when you answer this.
Like I said, I'm going to keep it really clean because what you're insinuating at is a part of what I'm going to say, which is companionship.
Okay.
That's what we want, companionship. We got girlfriends.
Now there's more to companionship than just the sexual.
Exactly.
You're talking about spiritual.
That is a very, very, very small
You're talking about
part of it.
energetic
Connection.
You're talking about just the knowing, the innate sense of knowing that I have security, and I'm not talking about financial.
And effort.
Exactly.
Can I be honest, as a black woman dating right now? Okay, y'all. I am 32.
Did you see the moment she had
I am
when she posed?
divorced.
Yeah.
I am 32. I
Okay.
am divorced. I have been out here dating, and I am done dating right now.
Oh my God. City P, you got about 50 seconds to chime in
I
on
am
what she said.
done right now.
Well, here's the thing is, so if with what you just said, so you say you want genuine companionship. What you just said, you're done dating. So when exactly are you going to be prepared for genuine companionship?
In my opinion,
Yes.
when a guy actually comes and says more than "Good morning, beautiful," what you doing?
Okay.
I have made a conscious decision not to date because I have made a conscious decision not to put my effort out anymore because I feel like my effort was not respected or loved or appreciated, okay? So with that being said, the way that I'm moving is that I'm moving.
Right.
And I'm doing what I'm doing. Now, if the right man comes along,
What's
then
gonna
he'll
happen?
get my attention.
Right.
Okay.
And I'll be open and I'll be available to that. But y'all not giving us much to work with.
I think it's time for Donte Chase Bridges
Yeah.
to intervene.
Okay. Oh,
Because
Lord.
he's been waiting to intervene. 'Cause he's been,
No, because
He's a-
I love what's happening here, because what we need to do, we need to open a dialogue
Yeah.
from multiple sources.
Yeah.
And I love what's happening here. But guess what's about to happen?
Oh,
you
Lord.
about to play the devil's advocate right now?
Ain't-
No, I think I'm not. I'm going to go a little bit further than devil's advocate.
Oh,
I got a few
Lord.
questions for Miss Kim.
Oh, Jesus.
So, Miss Kim,
Now, I'm gonna be honest now.
you're gonna be.
I'm
That's
gonna be
what I'm
honest.
gonna
You know what?
I want her
When,
to keep
when
on.
Dante does this, we need like a sound effect to happen. When he,
Yeah, like,
like who wants to be a millionaire? And you know when that question comes in.
and the lights go down.
Somebody creative. We can put it as an app or something. Now, Miss Kimbria, I heard you say something about you need a man, and I'm only paraphrasing.
Mhm.
You need a man that's going to complement
Mhm.
your effort.
Mhm.
Paraphrasing.
Mhm.
Now, what I would challenge you to say
Mhm.
is, are you familiar with the law of attraction?
Mhm.
Can you just run down the law of attraction for me?
The law of attraction is basically your thoughts become your things.
Your thoughts
You
become
bring
your
those things to you.
Name me 5 or the top 5 thoughts that you have that you feel that is attracting the man that has been adverse for your life.
Mm. Mm.
I'm gonna do you a solid.
Oh,
You know,
Man.
here, no, wait,
I'm gonna do you
solid.
before he answers, let me tell the world, Donte has done an in-depth relationship reading on me personally
business out.
already. So he know my business too.
Uh,
So he ain't finna just like, okay. So
But I just want the
set you
people.
up.
I don't
Set you
want
up.
you to go too in depth, but I just want you to give me a roundabout answer. And I said 5. Let's keep it a little bit lighter. Name me 2 of the top reasons that you feel that has attracted the wrong type of man to your life. Because you did tell me not more than 50 seconds ago that you believed in the law of attraction.
Mhm.
If you believe in the law of attraction states that like attracts like.
Mhm.
So no matter how much of the positive energy you feel that you're giving out to society, you
Mhm.
always have to remember that dark force travels 10 times faster.
Right.
yeah.
So what I need you to do is, I need you to be open and real, because you've been saying you're going to keep it
Yeah.
real with me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what I need her to do right now, I need you to keep it as real as possible and tell me exactly what is causing you, if you believe in the law of attraction, to keep attracting the men that are not right for you.
I'm about to give you
And
facts.
one more.
Mhm.
And if you are doing all the right things, what are the wrong things that is causing these men to say, I am a perfect match? Because the law of attraction will not bring nothing to us that we haven't beckoned for with our soul.
Okay.
So go ahead and take the floor for me.
Ooh.
I'm going to be completely real
You
and
got
tell you
Yeah.
that I never based that law of attraction theory to love.
Right.
I based it to business
Mm.
and branding
Right.
and school and pledging and this, and that I never based it to love. But I will be very, 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 very conscious and honest in saying the reason that I kept getting the same type of guys was because how do I say this? Okay.
I'll leave it.
Okay, I'm gonna set an analogy for y'all,
Go
right?
ahead.
Okay.
It's like the war front, right? And you got all these soldiers, right? And it's the sea of men out here. That could be for you. One of them.
I see you.
One of them is for me, right? One
I
of
don't
them
like
is
your
for me.
shoes. Go on.
I don't like them shoes.
I'm loving these
Too
dramatics
short.
right now.
No.
Yes.
But here's my problem. I don't go past the first row.
Oh, shoot.
I'm just gonna call it what it is. And I'm gonna ask a couple of my sisters to be real with yourself. Do you not go past the first row? Do you be like, well, let me settle for what I can get because I feel about myself some kind of way, or I'm tired of dating, or for whatever reason? It's a lot of us, in my opinion, we're not even putting out this law of attraction. We're putting out this law of attraction about our brands and our businesses. We want this, and we want to write a book, and we want to do this, and we don't do that.
Well, let
with,
me impose something on you.
Mhm.
You made that was a good statement. You said that we are not putting out this law of attraction. But the thing of the law of attraction, no
We
matter
doing it
if you
even
are
if we don't
consciously
do
or
it.
unconscious about it, you are going to put it out.
You're right.
So what I would challenge Kim Brio, and I would challenge a lot of women out there to understand, and not only women, but just black millennials in general, we only highlight the positive things about our lives. You can see that in social media, you can see that in Facebook, you can see that on Instagram, you go on YouTube, people are only It's all positivity.
Right.
People don't want to talk about the nitty gritty about themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they talk about it, they do it in a more satire fashion. Like everybody, jokes of the day.
And that's why I always talk about you got to kind of look at things from the world of gray. You can't be afraid of looking in the world of gray.
No,
It's kind of black and white.
no. I'm not even going to say that because gray is specifically what the world dwells in. Ambivalent behavior is what we all go through, and that's what's considered gray. What I would say to you is, if you look at only the positive things about your life and you only consider the negative things as the things that people will give you kudos for, like I'm an independent woman. Not only have Destiny Child made saying independent women be the top it thing of the decade, but all women look at as a positive affect. Do you understand that there is no way possible that a woman with femininity can live on this earth without masculine energy? Even though you may have, wait a minute now, because I'm about to go in on something. Even though you may have no man with you, no man in your presence in a relationship, do you understand that the government, the systematic government that CDP talks about, is giving you the masculine energy that you say you don't have? Do you know that the Section 8 housing, do you know that let's talk about some other things. What about the EBT system? What about the child support system? Do you understand the mechanism of the child support system is a masculine figure? So even though most women say that they don't need a man, or the millennial black women say that they find it hard because they're independent women, you cannot be an independent woman and support yourself without white corporate America, which is a masculine system. So the one thing that I will tell you that most black millennial women don't understand, and I'm just sharing some light because I love my black sisters. I love y'all to death. Can't get enough of you. Hi grandma, hi mama. I love y'all. The one thing that y'all not taking accountability for is, this is masculinity. This is, the system that we're in is completely masculine. You have just substituted one man, that is the black man, in for another masculine man, which is white corporate America and the government system.
So this is kind of like what the patriarchy is, so to speak?
It's always been a patriarchy, but it has been masked because the patriarchy starts with the government. Okay, because when you have someone that's providing your needs, by nature, women innately need somebody to give them security.
Right.
So look at a battery. A battery has a positive end and a negative end. The end that's negative, which is the woman of femininity, is the receiver. The end of the battery that's the positive end, that has the dimple going out, is the masculine, the positivity side. Women has always been opportunistic in order to get masculine energy. It's just that we have been traded in for a systematic approach to government systems, giving our black women what they need instead of us.
Can I piggyback?
You can, but we got a little bit of time, so you got 15 seconds.
I'm going to piggyback, and I'm going to piggyback only to say that I agree with you because we don't want to be independent.
Oh.
We're self-sufficient because y'all forced us to be.
And on that, we are going to take a quick break because we about to scrap in. I'm about to take these headphones off. Wow, me like that. We will be back with Real Talk with Donte Chase Bridges in 1 second.
Wow. UBM. I didn't hear that one more time.
If that one,
and I'm not gonna say that wasn't that the perfect.
If that one no clip,
wasn't that the perfect exit?
I got
but
you.
listen,
I'm gonna give you that like,
like
one of the homies. Damn.
But I'm gonna tell you like this. And when I say y'all, I don't just mean black men. I do mean the same system that you're talking about. We don't want to be this.
Right.
I'm gonna wait for the air.
Well, go ahead and wait for the air, because
we don't want this.
I'm gonna hit you over the
I'm gonna wait for the air. Oh, I'm gonna wait for the air.
She is right there. I was like,
oh. Man, all our life. We needed this. This is what we need.
Right. So we can never get this stuff without all
and in your new role.
like they scared to have this conversation. We need to have this conversation more so that we can
I'm
get
looking like I don't want my live to go out on this one. I want live to stay on.
Better care for your loved one. Remember, visit aart.org/caregivers. AARP.
Okay.
We help you. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP.
I want you to repeat the question one more time so I can get child.
I can restate the statement. I'll restate the statement.
You
My intro and
prediabetes.org.
I'll restate the statement and explain myself.
Go ahead. That is perfect.
I want to keep it like 30 seconds because we're going to get that chance to your business.
So So what better time than now? Let's
Tim,
begin.
shut up.
Raise
I'm
one
making
finger
you
for
shut up.
your
No,
man.
he's gonna lay with
Done
you.
yet? Oh, count on your credit for your driving. Now,
You
three
just
fingers for everyone over 60.
You just leave me.
Two over
It's time for
30.
you to talk to
Telling
tell.
you,
40. One more if you're not.
you got this. You flow.
Another finger if anyone in your family
I'm not
has
commercials, and we over here having talk
another
on live.
blood pressure.
It's behind the scenes.
Hey, how y'all doing,
It's
people?
behind
They
the
see what's
scenes.
going on behind the scenes and on the
They
scenes.
on my thing behind the scenes
Everybody,
too.
we doing it anyway.
All my lives we
We
behind
have
the
the
scenes.
whole conversation, the game planning, but
More fingers.
people
We all have our own.
Diabetes.org.
No.
Or talk to your doctor.
don't try.
Pre-diabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes.
We all need. No, that ain't it. What? No, that ain't
Look,
it.
I'm learning about preschool diabetes. It's a good information, man.
You listen to the PSAs.
Yeah, I need to put my headphones on for Miss.
There might be an advertisement.
So you just don't need it.
There might be an advertisement that might change my life.
You stupid. Change my.
Might change my life. Hold on. I've been doing this all wrong.
You're doing this all wrong. And it just hit me from this radio
From this
commercial.
commercial.
You gonna come back from commercial like this?
When you get back, there's no.
Look, man, I just heard a commercial that changed my
One to other
life.
tier. One to other tier.
And I don't understand it.
No,
Shit,
skip
like,
it, bro, skip it.
they just told me I need to start feeding my dog from a dog chow. I ain't been doing it. I don't understand. Somebody explain to me what's really going on.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/survey. A mind is
That's too old. I feel like I'm gonna fall for it.
Because when I turn over, I want to be scraping your thigh.
a public service announcement by
Very incident. Right.
Oh my God.
We got like the best soundtrack coming back into.
Oh
That's what
my
we
God.
do.
Superfly. Oh, Superfly. We done caught your eye. This is the UBM. Donte Bridges and them. And we kicking it. What is going on, everybody? This is Real Talk with Donte Chase Bridges. And if you weren't tuning in, we just had some fire.
Yeah,
And
hit me right in the eye too. When it's like, bam, no,
Hit you with a 2-piece no biscuit, didn't
man,
it? And then just walked off on me.
man.
Just walked off like nothing happened.
And then dropped the beat.
Just dropped the beat.
I was happy when they went to commercial break because I needed time to hit
You
to
need
let
to
that
recuperate.
digest. I was like,
But
Whew.
in case the viewers didn't hear it, we need Kim Brio, you gonna have to hit us with that heat one more time.
hit her,
Okay,
please.
okay, I'm gonna give it to y'all like
Jesus
this.
Christ.
I'm gonna give it to y'all like this.
Duh.
We keep talking about this independent woman and this independent black woman and is this the problem, this, that, and the third, and I think everybody keeps forgetting we don't want to be this. We didn't choose this. No woman grew up and said, you know what? I wanna do it all on my own. Nobody did, no, we didn't choose this.
Is that right?
We're doing this based on self-sufficiency. It gotta get done. So since it gotta get done, we gotta do it. We're here because y'all put us here.
Who exactly would you clarify?
Wait,
is?
hold on.
Oh, okay.
Wait, people, wait.
Okay.
CDP,
All right.
we gonna give you a chance,
All
man.
right,
Go
all right.
ahead and expound on what you just said.
I would like to understand what exactly is considered y'all because
It's not just
systemically,
black men.
it's not. I'm gonna say let's just say it's not just black men. Now we understand there's a lot of black men that fly low to the ground, and they kind of really just take what they can get, and not fulfilling their desire, not fulfilling their energy. They're not fulfilling their role. But you have to understand is that we're not going to sit here and say keep playing the blame game because that's not going to get anywhere. But it's called accountability. We have to take accountability for ourselves. We're not doing our jobs. I will absolutely admit that. But it's not always just more than us.
So what do you, hold on, real quick, because I want to understand what my brother's talking about.
Okay.
So you're saying it's not just us, right?
No, it's not just us.
And they have to take accountability, right?
Accountability swings both ways.
So what are give me 2 things that women need to take accountability for that has caused these black millennial women to not to be able to find love?
The first thing is to let go. Let go. I would say the first problem that is, whatever the past issues
Let go.
have been, the past issues, I know everybody has been in this situation. I feel like there's a lot of emotional about this.
So you're telling me they need an emotional release of all the past trauma?
Yes, and in order for you to move on to the next, you have to let go of the past.
So do you think that the millennial woman may need some type of therapy in order to first get themselves out there to start dating again? Because it sounds like you're saying that they have been traumatized to the point where they're just on autopilot with negativity.
Yes. And yes, it is, and that's true. And it is a thing, though. It's very understandable. But you also can understand, it's very understandable, but no therapy about it will lead to make it more, to quote the buzzword is toxic. It will get more and more toxic as you evolve in life. So you have to understand that there has to be some let go. There has to be an emotional discharge. Yes, you have to seek therapy. Then I would strongly suggest that. Even us black men have to seek that as well.
Kimberly, I'm trying to.
Okay, I agree with you 1,000%. Okay. But I'm gonna say, in order for us to let go, we have to stop being hurt.
Oh my God, okay.
So that's a twofold thing. For women, in order for you to let go, you can't jump to the next guy, and then the next guy, and then the next guy. Because then by the time you stop and address your hurt, you got 6 people's hurt on your heart.
Right.
Okay, that's one fold.
That's one.
The other fold of it for y'all, stop hurting women.
Stop hurting women.
And I mean this with all due respect. There's a huge portion of it that is systemic, okay? But I think that if I'm gonna be real, I'm not saying enough black men take accountability for their lack. They are really quick to throw it on the systemic, but the system set us up, Y'all, look at your counterparts and be real. Y'all gotta do better.
Now I got a question for you, Kimberly. Have you ever heard of the term cognitive dissonance?
No. I know what cognitive means. How about you break it down for me and the rest of the world?
Here we go. We know a lot about
cognitive dissonance is when someone understands what the truth actually is before what the facts are in order to have their opinion inside of their own head.
Ooh.
Now, let's talk about something real quick, Kimberly.
Okay.
You said that we need to take accountability. Fellas, she said that we know what's going on out here.
Y'all doing it.
We doing it.
Right.
Look at our counterparts. That's what you said, right? As black men, our counterparts. Well, cognitive dissonance comes in at this point because the black millennial women, I feel, and not all, some but not all. We don't speak in absolutes. This is generalities.
Right. Don't be offended nobody.
Nobody get offended. The black millennial women sees what's happening. Whether it be from the Rex 84 plan that said that all black men that are trying to have their independent contracts, which mean their independent businesses in the Chicago streets with some of the organizations like the Black Panthers, the conservative vice lords. And yes, conservative vice lords wasn't all about gang banging and all that.
No, it wasn't.
All that, the gangster disciples, those weren't all about gang banging.
Do your history,
Black
please.
souls, all
Do your
of
history.
that did not derive in violence. That derived with trying to protect the community.
Okay.
But the Rex 84 plan came in and it said that we're going to dismantle the masculine energy of the African American community by implementing plans like Section 8, like the food stamp plan. So the black woman sees what's happening here. And this is where I get a little gripey about this. Because you see how we got the boot to the back of the neck and it's not allowing us to get up. Most the demographics show that black women are the leading runners in graduating out of college in the whole United States.
I believe that.
Okay. Well, if you understand that aspect, don't you understand that the government that is putting the bootstraps to the men, kicking us in the back of the head, is giving you the grants and the funding and allowing you the programs in order to be the people that are the highest demographic out of college?
I hear.
Okay, so if you hear this, this is where cognitive dissonance comes in. And this is what I challenge my black women out there, especially my Chicago millennials. If you understand that this is happening, at some point you have to start looking at it at a glance. I see it, but I want what I want. You have to understand this cause and effect. If you understand anything about science, what happens is a reaction. Every action, there's a reaction. Because of systemic threats that has happened to the black men, we are down, okay? And nobody is making excuses. It's a difference between excuses and actual facts, okay? So the same people people that have kicked us in the back is the same people that are uplifting you. And like I said, a woman is always going to be optimistic. It's in their nature because they're trying to survive. They need security, right? So what I would say is stop looking at the fact that the black men are down and start looking at the fact that you have held hand by hand going down this road we call life with the same system that is oppressing the men that you want to step up.
I'm gonna tell you something, and I really want you to hear me from my heart.
I'm gonna go from my heart.
And I think black men and black women that keep having this conversation, the reason that we keep butting heads is because we're having two different conversations. Y'all are talking about love in regards to resources. Y'all are talking about providing.
Right.
Y'all are talking about setting up the house and making sure she has the things that she needs and da. Our unhappiness comes from the character and the lack thereof of the millennial black man. Systemically, I can give that right, all the resources. You understand what I'm saying? My issue with dating right now isn't resources. My issue with dating right now that I continually see is a lack of character.
A lack of character.
And a lack of integrity.
Well, let me
and a lack of moral.
Let me just chime in real quick.
You know, the terms, the F boys, you know?
I'm gonna shoot right to you. Now, you said a lack of character. Now, and I'm gonna ask this question.
Okay.
How, and this out to the viewers too. Do you feel that African American men primarily are raised in single parent households or households with two parents?
Single.
Single. How about you?
Absolutely single.
Do you feel that they are primarily raised by black men or black women?
Women.
So the men that you say need to take accountability for the fact that they are not having the character to basically complement this Chicago Black Millennial Woman are the same men that are raised by the women that are not taking accountability for the fact that you are creating
and coddling.
And coddling.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what came
Not
first?
ma'am, you, ma'am, his mama.
Right. You got it. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And this is what you're alluding to. Did the chicken come first? Did the egg come first? I believe it's the chicken. The chicken is an organism. It has DNA in order to create an egg.
Right.
But that's some science stuff. You don't got to get into that. So, if the woman, and I always give props to the woman. The woman is the goddess of the earth.
Yes.
The woman is the most powerful influence on this earth, period.
Especially in the black community.
Especially in the black community is basically a matriarchy.
Yeah.
It is low-key the feeling of the patriarchy because that's what we see on social media.
Right.
But what this society has done is made this a matriarchy. If the women are the rearers, if the women are the first teachers of the black men, I think, and I could be wrong, that your gripe is not with the black men that are the symptom, but the black woman that raised that man that is the root cause of the problem that you have right now.
I have a gripe with her, but I also have a gripe with the black man, the young black man, because at what point do you become consciously aware of who you are and that you need to better yourself?
It's called autopilot.
So yes, I'm mad at her, but at what point do we talking about grown people? We talking about people in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, okay? We talking about, and I'm saying 50s because that's what's single out here in Chicago right now. Let's keep it 100.
CDP, how you feel about this?
See, the thing is, now you brought up an interesting point when you said we're having two different conversations. And from what I gathered from that, well, in my mentality, what that stuck with me was we're having conversations amongst people that are still in our respective genders. Like men have this conversation, and we talk about what we can supply for the household. Women have this conversation with other women, and you have a discussion about character. There seems to be very little, I guess you say, word intergender conversation.
Right.
And this is where the divide comes in because people are so, in a lot of ways, afraid to have this conversation. So it doesn't really change, it doesn't help the situation anymore if we don't sit down and talk about it and try to come to a resolution and come to an understanding. And some people choose to later avoid it or run away from it, or they just pretend like it never happened at all.
Right.
Which is kind of like what you say, the cognitive dissonance kind of argument kind of comes in.
Like how people are doing politics right now.
Yes. you exactly.
Act like it don't exist.
It's like it don't exist, it don't exist. And we had a whole argument about moral victories last week ago, like this last week, moral victories. It's like you cannot take a win in some regard and then completely ignore the problem. The other part, and ignore the problem. Right. So what I look at it is, if you're going to have to change, there's the first thing you have to do is you have to be able to step up and openly admit that there is a problem.
Stephen, give me 2 things that black men can do right now to step up for their black women.
First of all, like I said, first thing foremost, accountability.
All right.
What she just explained itself, accountability.
That's
We
one.
have to be able to acknowledge the fact that we're not doing our job.
Give me one more.
The second part I would definitely say is growth. Growth.
Expound on that.
We have to be able to grow mentally. We have to be able to grow emotionally. We have to be able to grow. I don't know any other words. Like I can't say physically. I mean, I know most
Mentally, spiritually,
spiritually,
emotionally,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, we have to be able. Exactly. You know what? You're absolutely right. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we have to be able to mature. We have to understand that even though this is how we were raised, this is not exactly what can be related to us further on down our lives. The best teacher in the world is life.
Kim Brio, how you feel about that?
I agree 1,000%. I think that one of the most important things that I would want black men to leave this conversation with is that y'all gotta consciously try to do better. We gotta consciously try to do better. And I think that, you know, we all have to do that. Black men gotta take accountability for some things and step up. And black women, be quiet. Be quiet and be patient. That's how you find your man. Be quiet and be patient.
Because the thing is that even with men, like I say, I don't know to speak for myself, but me and Roger, even we have fallen into that scenarios sometimes, and we have to learn to step back and understand that what we're not doing things correctly. We're not doing things right. We have to make mistakes, and sometimes they've cost us dearly. It may have cost us somebody that we actually care about.
Can I chime in right now?
Yeah.
Now,
Yes, y'all sure.
I know, right?
Like we got to
I'm
chime
getting a
in.
little permission here.
All right.
Because I'm going to go somewhere a little different with this.
Okay.
I'm going to go with another angle. I'm hearing exactly what Stephen said when he said we need to be accountable as far as economically.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hearing Kim Brio say that it's not necessarily the economics, it's the fact that your character is so bad it does not support where I want to go in life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So both of these issues is dealing with 2 people that don't know what the other one needs in order to be good, right?
True.
So the one thing that I would say to everybody out there, the one person that you can fix before you can fix anybody is yourself. Now, I challenge you to do this. I want you to start to work on you on an energetic level. I want you to understand who you are, what makes you tick, why are you in the situation you're in, what are your goals, what are your dreams, what do you want to do in life? Because one thing that I'm going to tell you something that will rest the soul when you understand your life purpose. And what I see out here a lot of times, and Jay-Z said it well, he said the earth is turning, soul searching in search of some higher learning. Turning in every direction, seeking direction. And that's what I feel that the black youth of today is going through. They're turning in every direction because they don't have any life purpose. Once you have life purpose, no matter if it's being a doctor, no matter if it's being a lawyer, no matter if it's being an artist, a painter, your life starts to align with the person that you're naturally going to attract to you. So what I will say to everybody, find who you are and you'll find your love. I am Donte Chase Bridges. This is Stephen City P. Watson.
And Kim Brio.
We had Kim Brio. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for tonight. We
Yes.
appreciate you. And like I always say, peace. Tune in next week, people.